Hey everyone. So I thought I'd make a video this time around just because I think this might be, it would have been too long for you to have to read. And so I thought this might be just a funner way for me to kind of share my ask, and especially as I give some more context and history. But as I mentioned, this month I'm participating in my fourth Move for Freedom Challenge for the Creative Life Foundation, which is a fundraiser that merges fitness and social justice. And so many of you watching this have supported me in previous years. And so for the next 30 days, my personal challenge will be to run 100 miles and try to raise $5,000. My first Move for Freedom challenge that I did 4 years ago was to raise tuition money to send Anu to university, one of our students, and it was a critical moment in her life. And so now this year I'll be running for her fourth and final year, very exciting, of university. But additionally, I'm running for another student as well. His name's John, and I'm gonna just give you a little bit of some context and history as I kind of introduce who he is. But before I do that, just a little bit of what brought us to Thailand and what led to today in this video. So human trafficking, as many of you already know, it's the fastest growing criminal industry in the world. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And currently there's over 50 million people that are in forced labor, sexual exploitation, and forced marriage worldwide. Thailand is among the highest countries experiencing trafficking today. And so in 2008, Amy and I moved to Thailand, and we began volunteering with an anti-trafficking organization. And it was within these earlier years of living in Bangkok that issues around trafficking and other forms of exploitation just became personal, because it was no longer this 50 million people, a number that's really hard to understand, and oftentimes we feel disconnected. But now it was individuals, people that we knew that were affected by this, and people who lived with us actually during the years that Amy and I ran a safe house. We knew children as young as 8 that were begging and selling flowers in Bangkok's notorious red light districts. They weren't trafficked per se, but extremely vulnerable. We were hearing horror stories from the children selling flowers about men inviting the kids back to their hotel rooms, or being invited for a beach vacation. We met a kid who had worked a job on a fishing boat and didn't get paid just due to his legal status. And so trafficking for us, again, it became personal. And then that's also when we decided to start the Creative Life Foundation with a focus on prevention. And so our prevention work really began in 2013 after establishing Creative Life Foundation. We started a classroom, actually, of 7, which included my 2 daughters. And John was one of our students, just 7 years old at the time. And so instead of following in his older siblings' footsteps selling flowers in the red light districts, he, along with his siblings, began receiving an education. When I met John, he was always a really curious kid. I think one of the stories that I share often with people is after we were registered as an organization, we began to receive donations, and so they came in the boxes of just toys and puzzles and clothing, different things that people want to donate. And we always knew it was a donation because we would be putting a puzzle together with the kids, and then all of a sudden we're looking for that last piece, and we were like, it's a donation, so of course it doesn't have a full set. But anyways, this one time we actually received it was a box of donations, and inside was this train set. with tracks and all the things, you know, that went with it. And he was super excited. So, you know, John set it up, and it was one of those electric ones that kind of ran on its own. And so we, you know, he set it up, and then he was, you know, he flicked the switch on, and of course it didn't work. And so he thought, you know, batteries would solve the problem. And so got John some batteries, and again he tried to make it run, and it just wasn't working. And so after that he asked for a screwdriver, and I was like, okay, John. So I got him a screwdriver and left, and later I showed up. Basically what he had done was he had taken apart this train and kind of rewired it. And when I walked back, you know, he and the other kids, you know, were just marveling at this train that was running around the track, you know. And so very on, you know, John was always a curious kid, but he not only did he love to figure things out, but he also, you know, created things like that. And it was, I think, in that moment too, where we really just saw the power of education, and the power of safe space, and the power of mentorship, and really, you know, accompanying these kids who never had received an education before. And eventually, with a lot of work, we got John into an international school. If you're hearing something, that's my dog playing with this toy, but sorry. And eventually got John into an international school, which is also crazy because, you know, when we first met John, he's from Cambodia, and so you know, really his first language is Khmer, and then he obviously learned Thai from living in Thailand for 7 years. But now we needed to kind of get his English up to a place where he needed to be for him to go to an international school. And so again, lots of hard work on everyone's part, but he got accepted. And long story short, you know, this June, John is graduating from high school, and I received a text message from him earlier this year saying that he got accepted to university. And so this is huge because John is, you know, he's the first in his family to ever go to school. His mom never went to school. His dad had up to a 4th grade education, and this is very common for all the kids in our scholarship program. Parents, you know, not receiving an education, and as we know, you know, not having education really traps people in poverty because it limits their options, and this also makes people vulnerable to exploitation. And so I'll be going to Thailand in June just to witness John's graduation, and we're kind of scrambling around to make sure he has everything that he's going to need. But I'm running, you know, this Move for Freedom Challenge to help fund his, you know, his tuition and all the needs. His, you know, he's going to be living on campus, and his transportation and his food allowance and all different things that he needs. And we'll continue to provide John with the support that he needs to, again, not just to enroll in school, but to also thrive. And so thank you just for listening. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about John as you know, to put some context to who I'm asking you to get behind with me, so your gift, you know, will help support that, and then also I'll be sharing you know, updates on my Facebook and Instagram as I'm running, and so if you want to follow me on social media, that's where I'll be doing most of my updating, and then obviously leave, you know, likes and comments. Those are always, like, encouraging to know that people are seeing it and engaging. But also I'm going to include a link just to our impact report as well. You know, our program, you know, started with a classroom of 7 back in 2013, which has now grown to support more than 100 children and youth each year throughout Bangkok and northern Thailand. And so definitely click on our impact report so you can kind of see how we're making effective change. And so thanks for listening, and definitely follow along. Also, if you want to even participate in the challenge, click on the link as well to learn about how you can do your own challenge. Okay, I'll see you on the road, or on the trail. Actually, I'll be mostly doing my runs in the woods.